All right, thank you for that wonderful introduction from the Developmental Disabilities Division. I'm Eileen Manuel from the Department of Human Services MedQuest. I'm here with some of our partners from the DDD division, as well as Arlena Wong from Acumen. So the individuals that are participating today, thank you for joining us this evening. This is a presentation on electronic visit verification, also known as EVV. If you already are using EVV, great. Some of this will be more updates and reminders for you so that we can better utilize the EVV services. If you're new to Consumer Direct and using that option currently, you'll find out a little bit more information about EVV during this presentation. Okay, this presentation is hosted by DHS MedQuest, as well as the Developmental Disabilities Division. And again, we have Arlena Wong from Acumen, just in case you have any questions stated in the beginning, put them in the Q&A box. Next slide. So on today's agenda tonight, we have what is EVV. We're gonna go ahead and talk about what is that. Why are we using EVV? How does it benefit you as a participant using the EVV? What is EVV verification? We'll look at the Consumer Directive EVV methods and options. We'll talk about a little bit about the training, as well as reminders to you for those that are existing using the EVV system with Acumen. We'll go over some FAQs and share with you some resources. Next slide. What is EVV? So EVV stands for Electronic Visit Verification. EVV is a system that electronically verifies when and where services are provided to you, the participant. EVV is built into a time entry system for employees paid by Acumen for those that access consumer-directed services. And then SanData is the vendor, the state vendor that gathers all the information for Hawaii's EVV system. So each provider, we do have other agencies that deliver services, but not through a consumer-directed option. But the SanData, what SanData does is it's the bigger umbrella vendor that collects all the information to ensure that the state is complying with the EVV requirements. Next slide. So why are we using EVV? EVV is a federal requirement. It's something that all states need to follow for those that are receiving Medicaid and federal funding. It is to be in compliance with the 21st Century Cures Act. And it's required for the consumer-directed services, chore, personal assistance, habilitation, and respite. Next slide. How does EVV benefit you as a participant? So it ensures person-centered service delivery, encourages timely service delivery, reduces the use of paper task and timesheets, ultimately reduces fraud, waste, and abuse. And using the DCI Acumen system, it's easy to use. You get free ongoing training with no cost to you as the participant using their services, and support is provided to you 24/7. Next slide. So EVV verification. Now we talked about EVV being something that is electronically verified. So EVV electronically verifies the participant, so that's you receiving the service, DSW or caregiver providing the service, the type of service delivery, whether that's consumer directed, it would be either personal assistance, habilitation, chore, or respite. It will electronically verify the date the service was delivered. It will also electronically verify the time the service is delivered. That's the clocking in and out and capturing that information. and as well as the location of where the service is delivered, beginning and end. We all know that EVV verification is done electronically. Verifying the time and location is essential to ensuring that we go back then to like what was mentioned in the previous slide, to ensure that we minimize fraud, waste, and abuse. Next slide. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand this over to the one that knows the system best under the consumer directed option, Arlena Wong from Acumen. She will talk about the different consumer directed EVV methods that you can use to electronically capture your visits.
Hi, aloha, and thank you, and Happy New Year. I'm glad to join you all and explain how these methods apply to the EVV process. In order to submit time in real time, meaning when you're clocking in and clocking out, it needs to be done electronically. So these methods are used in order to record that information at the time it's being done. So the first one is the mobile app, and it is a free downloadable app from the Google Store, the Apple Store, and it's connected through our provider, who is DCI. DCI stands for Direct Care Innovations, and they're a sister company of ours, and they provide this mobile service and the EVV required guidelines for it. So when you clock in and clock out, you can do that on this app. It's by the employee on a smartphone or an iPad, not the computer. And it's done, it could be done on anybody's phone or anybody's iPad, as long as the employee is the one that's doing the clock in and the clock out. The phone EVV is another one to be done by the employee, and they use the participant's landline. So at the client's home, if they have a landline, the employee can call a number and they can clock in and then call a number and clock out. And that will be recorded and entered as an EVV visit. The last one is a fixed visit verification. What we use is a FOB, and that's a fixed object. And it's kind of like a little flash drive. And what you do is you record the number that it shows, either on a paper timesheet or on a notepad, and then you enter that into the system later into the main portal for payroll. And that will also record that number is what is used to verify for EVV. And those are the three main EVV required or approved methods in order to submit time. Next slide. Great, so these can be very simple methods, but for some people like myself, sometimes a computer or phone is not that easy to understand. So we do provide training for all employers and employees before you use it. And mainly it's because some methods will require a setup before that, specifically the landline. And then also to be able to enter the accounts, you'll need the login information from us. And that's provided to you through your agent. Training is provided either individually and one-on-one. We do have virtual classes. So the employers, it's important for you to read our emails, because they will let you know when we're going to have trainings. And you could always call our customer service as well to get training, and they're available 24/7 except on holidays. And so I would suggest you call after 6 p.m. because they're more likely to be available. Otherwise, they're serving pretty much the whole country and getting them set up. And your agent is available. They're here in Hawaii, and they're available during regular business hours. So you can contact anybody throughout the day and more than likely get somebody to help you that day. If not, please do leave a message so we know that that is what you need, and we'll get back to you with the training. Go ahead. Next slide, please. Some reminders for EVV and time entry is to make sure that the employer and the employee is verifying that their visits are being recorded correctly. We do notice that sometimes people will put the wrong service code or maybe forget to clock out until the following day or 2 days later. So it's really important to verify them before payroll is processed. The visits also need to be verified by the client or the employer in real time. So there's 2 ways of doing that: through a PIN that the employer types in to the phone at the time of the clock in and clock out, or a picture can be taken of the client, but we will need to set that up in advance. So if that's something that works better for you, if the employer isn't available, then you will want to make sure that we get a picture of the client so we can set that up. And the employee can then take a picture of the client to verify that they are working with the client. Some visits can be approved in DCI by the employer after the visit, and that's generally our CLS and as a manual entry. We do not encourage manual entries after the fact because that is not EVV compliant. And so we want to make sure that you do as much as possible in real time, and then we can make changes afterwards if needed. All visits should be reviewed by the employer, so make sure before payroll everything's accurate. Again, AM, PM sometimes is odd service codes, or if an employee forgets to clock out, then they have multiple days in their payroll, and that needs to be changed since they're not working multiple days in a row. Next slide, please. So if you have any changes, problems, or questions on your usage of DCI, EVV, the time entry, anything regarding this, please contact our customer service, which is available 24/7, and or your agent, which is available during office hours. If you're not sure who your agent is, you can contact customer service and they can let you know. Do not write problems or request changes in the notes of the entry. So while you're entering it, there's a notes box. That is for your use to make notes on what is working or not working for you. We do not manage or monitor those notes. So if you leave us a message, we will not be responding to it. So please, if you have a problem, a question, or a change that needs to be done, contact customer service or your agent. That's all I have right now, unless somebody has questions later, but I'll hand this back over to our host.
Okay, perfect. So next slide, we're going to go over just a few questions that have come up within the last year, frequently asked questions. So the first question is for live-in caregivers and DSWs. Does the EVV requirements apply if the caregiver or DSW providing the service lives in the same household as the participant receiving the service? Yes, EVV requirements apply. Hawaii has chosen to include the use of EVV for live-in caregiver DSW that is authorized to deliver hourly-based services. This will ensure appropriate oversight and prevention of fraud, waste, and abuse. So all the services under the consumer-directed program, CHORE, Personal Assistance Habilitation, PAB, and respite are authorized hourly. So therefore, EVV is applied to those type of services under the consumer-directed program. Next slide, please. Does the EVV requirements apply to CLS, Community Learning Service? So no, community learning service, EVV requirements do not apply to community learning service. Hawaii has chosen to exclude that from EVV at this time. If you look at service definitions under the 20 and the requirements under the federal requirements under the 21st Century Cures Act, it details what kind of services should comply with EVV. So that's personal care services, and their CMS, the federal definition for personal care services, are more of a hands-on service care delivery. And right now, based on the service description and definition under the waiver, community learning service is more of a community integrated type of service that does not require a large amount of personal care during that time. Next slide. So this is our last slide. Arlena touched upon it many times. Acumen customer service, that's 24/7 for any of your questions, problems that you want to address, or any changes that you want to go ahead and mention to someone. Make sure that you go ahead and call the number, and you're most likely to get somebody, even if it's after hours. But if you don't get somebody right away, make sure that you go ahead and leave a message. You have right here as well the email address for DHS MQD. If you had any other additional questions related to EVV that Acumen cannot respond to, go ahead and email us and we'll address some of those questions, hopefully, and get a response back to you via email. If you want more information on EVV, a lot of things that we publish from DHS MedQuest, you can visit us at our MedQuest website here. If you want more information on what the 21st Century Cures Act is, there's a big, large document. If you click on that hyperlink there, that you can go ahead and review if you're interested. CMS also issued federal guidance for the states. If you're interested in what on a federal level, a higher level, and more of the reasons why states are implementing and doing the things that we're doing in regards to EVV, you'll find a lot of that information there as well. So CMS Medicaid EVV website. SANData is our bigger EVV system that we have for Hawaii. If you're interested in learning about them, you can go ahead and that hyperlink there is available to you. Other than that, the product that Acumen uses for the consumer directed population is DCI, so that we want to make sure that we address any of your questions to Acumen. But like I said, if you're interested, SANData, that information, that hyperlink is there as well. Okay, so we can know we're halfway through the presentation, for halfway through the hour that we set for us this evening. So we want to thank you everybody for joining us. If you have any questions right now, we're going to go ahead and take those questions. Abby, I'll have Abby facilitate that. We'll give you a couple minutes to type in. Abby, do we have the capability of having our participants unmute as well, or do they type in their questions?
Let's see. So we actually have a few call-in listeners. If you folks would like to go ahead and ask your questions to those of us that are joining on the phone, I'm going to go ahead and allow you two folks to ask your questions if you folks are interested. For those of you folks that are joining us on the computer, feel free to type in your question into the Q&A window that you see on the bottom of your screen. But besides that, it doesn't look like we have any questions coming in today. All right, so with that being said, this presentation is currently being recorded and it will be uploaded onto our website within 1 week. So when you folks go ahead and sign off, you folks will be directed to in your email a follow-up email from us, the training unit. And at that link, we will have the website and the recording for this presentation, as well as a link to the slides that you see on your screen today. Do we have any other closing remarks, Eileen and Arlena?
No, we don't.
All right. We shall see you folks later. You folks have a wonderful new year. And should you have any questions whatsoever, we have the resources listed on the screen. For those of you folks that are joining by phone, the Acumen customer service number is 866-759-9498. And for additional questions for EVV, feel free to reach out to our partners at MedQuest. And their address is evv-mqd@dohs.hawaii.gov. All right, everyone, you folks have a great night. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.